This is the in-depth video demonstration of the AutoHotKey pie menus. There are chapter markers in the description, and the current chapter is shown in the top of the video. First, you'd click on the download link for the zip file in the description, and then once you get that zip file, it would be located in your downloads folder. You'll see that compressed file. You can uncompress that wherever you like, and that's done. Here, you can move it to your desktop, you can move it to your program files, whatever your preference is. It doesn't matter where it's placed. So I'm going to move it to my desktop for now. So you're going to open this folder up and you'll see a couple folders, 2 executables, an AHK script, which probably won't be recognized. So starting out, you probably don't have AutoHotKey installed. So first what you're going to do is you're going to run the pie menu app. Double click that, it'll prompt you to install AutoHotKey. If you already have it, cool. So just click yes, it'll download the installer from the AutoHotKey site. So that's happening in the background right now. And then just click yes to run the installer. And click Express Installation. It's a very small program. It will not take long. And then hit Exit. And then now open the pie menu app again. And then this window will open up. So first, let me just kind of show you how this thing works. So you run pie menus. So this down here tells me that the pie activation key is the tilde key, which is the key to the left of 1. So I press that and this ring shows up. And you can see 6 functions. So there's copy, paste, control click, and shift click, enter and delete. Say I have a text document. I can call it what I want. I copy it and maybe I paste it. Cool. Can select multiple files with the control click, and then I can delete them using the delete key. You can actually access another set of functions by leaving the center and returning. So these functions are more useful for file explorers. So you have like back and forward, going up a directory. A particularly useful one is resize window. So wherever you open the pie menu, it'll resize the active window to where the pie menu is opened. So you can see I can resize that real easily. And that's a lot easier than finding the bottom right corner of it and dragging that, because it's sometimes hard to get on that position, especially considering whatever sensitivity of your mouse you're using. So this is a nice way to just quickly resize a window. If you leave the center, circle around and return, there's another set of functions, like the pie menu settings, and closing scripts. And then I just put in some other functions like minimizing a window or switching applications. I have some duplicates here. They'll probably be different for you. But that's how that works. And then there's also application-specific profiles. So when I'm in Chrome, you'll see that the functions are different. Like there's open link tab, there's refresh and close tab, got the snip tool. What I like in Chrome is that you can open a new tab by middle-clicking. So I have that in here. You can open new tabs by hovering over a link, or you can open a new tab and go to it with another function. So this lets you open a new tab and it goes to it. So that's, okay, no, get out of here. I play too much Rocket League. Not proud of it. And then you can also close the tabs. And then you also have back and forward. Another program that I made this for was Photoshop. And this is actually the first profile I made, so it is a very developed profile. So because pie menus are especially useful for people who use pen tablets, I will be using a pen tablet. So as you can see here, I have my pie menu. There's a few functions. And right now in the middle, you can see I'm switching between the brush and the eraser, just because that's a very common switch. So I can draw something and I can erase it. We also have change active brush. So in that middle function, the paintbrush was the active brush. You can also have the smudge tool be your active brush. And then you can switch between the eraser and the smudge tool. So I'm going to set that back to the brush. And that works. Oh, I have navigation functions in the top. So the hand zoom tool. So first is the zoom tool. If you select that again, it selects the hand tool. I have a function in the top right called rect S move, and that stands for rectangle select and move. So if I select that, I can select whatever I just drew, and then it'll automatically go to the move tool. And I can move that however I want, scale it, and then if I press the pi key again, it confirms and deselects. I also have the fast eyedropper. If you have a color palette layer, you can quickly change your color to something over there by hitting the pi key over the color you want and selecting the fast eyedropper. So I have that color, and then I want white. So then now I got white. If you want to select a color, you can go to the same position in the purple menu and do color select, and then press the pi key to select a color. At the bottom, I have brush specific tools. So I have brush size, and you can change the hardness here too. In the purple menu, I have opacity selection. And that's really convenient to have. I also have undo and the enter key in case like a prompt comes up or something. In the purple, I have rotate for rotating the view. And now if you select rotate view again while you have the rotate tool selected, it'll reset your view. And then I also have lasso selection and move, just like the rectangle selection and move. In the red menu, I have deselect, stamp tool, move tool, and then zoom and then hand. So what this does is it selects the zoom tool, and then if you press the pi key again, it does the hand tool. Press pi key again, it confirms your view. There's actually a lot of other functions in the Photoshop Pi menu settings. So depending on your setup, feel free to check them out. The script uses com commands to select and find the names of tools. So if you have different keyboard shortcuts for certain tools, this will not interfere with them because it's not sending keyboard shortcuts to select tools. And also, if you write AutoHotKey scripts, you should really consider using com commands whenever you can. They're extremely useful. So now, let me go into the Pi menu settings. Another thing I should have shown is that once you're running it, you'll see that it's running in your system tray. And so say PiManager.ahk and PiMenu.ahk. These will basically tell you that it's running. If you want to close it, you can hold Control, Alt, Shift, and press the Pi key. And that'll close all scripts related to the Pi menus. You can see here, they are not running anymore. So let's open up the Pi menu app. So I have the Chrome profile and the Photoshop profile. Here you can set if that menu is going to be active when you hit Run Pi Menus. If you don't have it set to active, it'll just use the default. However, if you set default to not active, it'll just not use the Pi menu when it doesn't have a registered active app. If you click on Pi menu settings, it'll open up the settings for the selected profile. So you can see here I have default Pi menu settings, and here I have Chrome Pi menu settings. You can deactivate this box to make the text at the bottom not appear when you switch windows. Sometimes that annoys people. If you want to add a new profile, you're going to click this button here. First, you should have the program open that you want to add a profile for. So I'm actually going to open up Notepad here to show this. So what you do is you're going to click this and a timer will start counting down. Have the window focused for what you want to add a profile for, and then it'll ask, hey, do you want to add a profile for Notepad.exe, which is the associated executable for this process? You're going to hit yes, and then it'll create a folder for those settings. And so now if you look, we have Notepad here. We can go to the settings, and now there's settings for it. I'm going to actually go through the settings for the default Pi menu. So this first group here is the Pi menu activation key. I have this set to the tilde key for pretty much everything because it's a very accessible, useless key. Other good buttons to set this to is the pause key, X button 1, X button 2. X button 1, X button 2 are these buttons on the left side of the mouse. I don't know if you can see that. There's the middle mouse button, which is the scroll wheel button, and numpad keys A through Z. Comma and period are SC033 and SC034. The reason why I like the pause key is because for some pen tablets, you can set a button on your pen to send the pause key, and you're never going to use that button for anything. So that's a good key to sacrifice. If you can't use that though, use the tilde key. The numpad multiply key is also a good one. This slider here sets the time that it takes for the labels to appear. I have this set to 1 second because if you know the location of your function, it should take you less than a second to reach that function. Having it longer kind of just forces you to learn your function locations. which knowing your function locations will speed up your workflow. So, but I think 1 second is a good in between for people who are hardcore and people who have bad memory, like me. This next grouping is however many pie menus you want to use. Maybe you don't have a need for 21 different functions. And I'm saying 21 because the middle of the pie menu is actually also another function. So there's 7 functions on each pie and there's 3 pies. So you can use just the blue pie menu. You can use just the blue and purple or all of them. You should use all of them. You can change the method for shifting between pie menus. So I have it set to leave center and return for purple, circle around and return for red, which is what you saw. You can also switch it to move away from center and return to cycle through all of them. Once it gets to red, though, it won't actually cycle back to blue. It just goes blue to purple, then purple to red. Same deal with circling around the pie and returning to center. That's just a very controlled method, but it's slower. And if you're boring, you can have it set so you just press Shift, Control, or Alt to switch between the menus. You can still do that in any of the other settings, though. You can change the pie menu size. You may want to change this depending on your sensitivity or if you're using a pen tablet. If you're using a pen tablet, having this set to small I think is good because I just feel like small is a good setting for that. Medium's good if you have a medium sensitivity mouse. If you have a high sensitivity, large is good. If you're using a 4K monitor, you should use Big Boy. I made this one pretty much for my roommate because he uses a 4K monitor, but use that if you have a 4K monitor. I'm going to leave that as medium. Display tooltips. Some functions have tooltips. If you disable that, the tooltips won't appear. Enable pen tablet. This just lets it read pen tablet pressure because some functions do use pen tablet pressure. Disabling this, I haven't been able to notice a difference in performance, so just leave it. Now let's take a look at the functions. So here we have a diagram of where the functions are positioned on the pie menu. There's M for the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So first we'll look at M. I usually have that set to no action. However, if you have your pie activation key set to a more used key, like maybe like the 4 button, you could set this to send key and then set this to 4. And there's no point in labeling this because I don't actually have the labels for the middle appear. Yeah, the first function that you can use is the send key function, which you just write a label for it. I'm gonna just put it here for demonstration. Send key. So I could just write a label for it like undo. Then I'd select the send keystroke field, press Control Z, and now that keystroke appeared in that field. Next function is run program. If you make your own AutoHotKey scripts, this is especially useful. Close AHK scripts. And then we'll find a script that closes AutoHotKey scripts. So there's one. And then here it'll put the file path. If you want to have a local file path, I have a folder for that. You just go to the main pie menu folder, go to resources, local pie scripts, and then click on a script and you'll see it do a working directory here. That means it's going to be relative to the pie menu folder. So if you give this to anyone else, it'll work. Not especially useful, but just something I put in because I could. Left click. As always, you can make a label for it. Maybe like Control Shift L click. There we go. And so what that means is that I'll left click in the position the pie menu is opened while holding Control and Shift. And then it'll let go of Control and Shift after the click has happened. Then there's also this drag function, which actually changes how this works. So when you select this function, when drag is selected, Control and Shift will actually start being held down, and then your next click will have Control and Shift held down. And once you let go, it'll let go of those modifier keys. So that's more useful if you're using a pen tablet, but it can also be useful if you don't remember a combination or something. Right click, it works exactly the same, except it right clicks. Middle click, take a guess. So then there's the pie menu settings function that just opens the pie menu settings for the associated function. You can also open this by holding Control Alt and pressing the pie key. And then Next we have close all scripts. This just closes all scripts, like it says. You can also do this by pressing Control, Alt, and Shift, and the Pi key. You can minimize a window, press the Enter key, because for whatever reason, Enter does not work in the Send keystroke field. Same with the Delete key. We got the Windows Snip tool. We can switch applications, it just sends the Windows key and Tab, and we can close a window. We have that resize window function, which I think is particularly useful. I'm pretty proud of that one. And we have duplicate selected, just sends Control-C and Control-V. And yeah, you notice that like these all have associated descriptions with them. And yeah, so you can see we have these settings for purple pie menu and the red pie menu. And when you organize this, just definitely put your most accessible functions in the blue pie menu, next most accessible in the purple pie menu, and then more exogenous functions in the red pie menu. You can save your settings by clicking OK, or you can revert to what your settings were before by hitting cancel. I'm going to hit cancel. So let's say you want to make your own function within the pie menu app. You can run AutoHotKey scripts by just using the run program function in the pie menu settings, but you can also write in a function in the script itself. The benefit to adding a function within the script itself is that you can access the variable for where the pie menu was opened. Let's demonstrate that. So I would go to pie menu app folder. Let's go to Chrome, and we see the pie menu here. I'm going to click on PieMenu.ahk, right click, edit with Notepad++. If you're not using Notepad++, I don't know why you're still watching. But yeah, there is a language for AutoHotKey, which makes it very convenient to use. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see this comment text here. It says, oh my gosh. It'll just say that, because this is not related to Photoshop. Here's a template for a function I have here. You can also look at these other functions too, and you'll see that the labels for these functions correspond to the labels in the pie menu settings, except for instead of spaces, they have underscores. These need to have underscores. So let's add our own function here. So I'm going to add it after pie menu settings. Back. So my cool function, my cool func, we'll do that. Add a colon, add my brackets. So as I said before, the benefit to making your function in this is that you can access the variable for where the pie menu is opened. We're going to do mouse click. We'll do right. Then MXI is the X position for where the pie menu is opened, and MYI is the Y position for why the pie menu is opened. Setting (0) just sets the speed of the click to being instantaneous. If you're going to do a mouse click, I strongly recommend using a block input. Mouse move. Don't forget your comma, or forget it. No, don't forget it. Okay, we're going to try this again because I'm really done. So if you're using a mouse click, it's generally a good idea to use block input. Mouse move, so that'll block the mouse from moving. Then after it, you want to unblock it because we don't want to lock up someone's computer. Block input, mouse, move, off. There we go. And then at the end, you have to add a return. Don't forget the return. Maybe we'll just do a message box just for funsies. Hey, you're pretty cool. Keep being cool. Yep, I'm happy with that. All right. So after you've added the function to the script, I would copy the label because you're going to need that later. We're going to go back to the folder with the pie menu app. So this is for Chrome. And then we're going to go to the resources folder, and then there's a text file that says functions. So this is where the function labels and descriptions are stored. So you see there's a 2-digit number followed by the label and then a colon and then the description. So we're just going to continue that pattern. 17, paste your label. I'm going to actually replace the underscores with spaces. Put it in a colon. This function is neat and reminds you who is cool. Sometimes you need that. All right, so I'm going to save that. Close that out. I'm going to go to the Pi menu settings app. Actually, I'm going to go to it from here. Show that this works. So I'm at Chrome, Pi menu settings, blue Pi. We'll put it here in the purple one in the 2 position or the top. And I'm going to set this to My Cool Funk. And you can see the description's there, label's there. I'm going to hit OK to save those settings. I'm going to run Pi menus. We're going to go to Chrome. And now let's go to our function. There's My Cool Funk right there at the top. Did I forget to add a return? Nope, there's a return. It's just not working. Oh, I forgot the comma. Oh, I'm so dumb. Don't forget the comma. All right, so I'm gonna save that, and I'm gonna test this again because I need to maintain some integrity here. Pi menu app, run Pi menus. We're in Chrome. Pressing this, go to the purple menu. We see My Cool function, and god damn it, I'm not sure why that's not working. We're just gonna do this. I just need something to tell me that cool. I mean, the right click part is working, and you can see that it's moving the mouse. I just want my message box to work. That's all we're gonna do. All right. I'm just gonna run that Pi menu because now I'm getting lazy. My cool function. Hey, you're pretty cool. Keep being cool. Thank you. Oh, that was so much harder than it needed to be. Not sure why that didn't work before. But hey, now we know who's pretty cool, and we know that we should keep being cool. So we made our own function. Great. For most cases, though, if you have an AutoHotKey script you want to run, just use the run program function. Because there's not many situations where you're going to need the variables for where the Pi menu is opened. The reason why I made this is because first I wanted to see if there were Photoshop Pi menus. I use Blender a lot. Blender has Pi menus. They're great. I really like them. And so I was thinking, hey, I'll just make a feature request. Then I got on the feature request page and kind of noticed that they're very selective with the features they decide to implement. Like in Illustrator, we've been asking for the scroll wheel to default to zooming as opposed to having to alt scroll to zoom. And that was back in 2009, and it's 2018. So kind of hit or miss. Not only that, but they have a lot of other like actually important things to work on. Like Taryn from Linus Tech Tips made a beautiful spreadsheet listing all the bugs that he found in Premiere Pro. So the guys at Adobe have a lot to focus on already. So if you want any niche tools like the one I have, you're better off making it yourself if it's for Adobe. You got Pi menus. Use them. They're cool. For anyone who cares, I hid one of my animations and songs in an Easter egg in this program. I'll give you a hint. You get to the Easter egg in this menu. If you manage to find it, comment on the video it brings you to. That would actually be amazing if someone managed to find it. It is a very well-crafted Easter egg, and I'm very proud of it. I also feel kind of dumb that I spent 12 hours on an Easter egg that no one will probably find because there's probably only 5 people in this world who will ever use this program. Cool! There we go.